In the Indian philosophical tradition, all questions about suffering, confusion, fear or liberation start from a single root: who am I? The question is the gateway between hell and heaven, between ignorance and liberation. According to Nisargadatta Maharaj, ego is not an evil entity, but only a false idea about oneself. When you believe that I am this body, I am the doer, I am the thinker, then from that moment, an ego illusion is formed. And Atman, the immortal soul, the absolute self, is the pure consciousness that is aware of everything, but is not limited by anything. From the moment humans forget their infinite nature and identify with the body, the story of war begins. It is not a battle outside, but a conflict within your own consciousness, where one part of you longs to merge into the light, and another part fears to disappear. Maharaj says, you do not need to fight with the ego. See it as unreal, it will dissolve. What is ego? The shadow of consciousness. The ego is not a living being, nor is it an evil spirit residing within you. It has no form, no location, and no separate entity. The ego is simply a limited reflection of the infinite light, Atman, in the distorted mirror of consciousness. In other words, the ego is the false idea of self, when the infinite spirit identifies itself with a temporary form and believes, I am this body, I am this feeling, I am the thinker, the doer, the willer. The moment that thought appears, the infinite becomes finite, the light becomes a shadow, and heaven becomes the world. The metaphor of the light and the vase. Imagine, the light of the sun shines everywhere, brilliant, boundless, belonging to no one. When you put a pot in front of that light, the light enters the pot and reflects off the ceramic wall. Then you call it the light in my pot. But what is the truth? There is no light in the pot. There is only the light of the sun. And the light in the pot is only a small part limited by the wall of the pot. The ego is that pot. It is the false boundary that makes the soul think that the light inside is separate, that we are different from the universe, that there is I and the rest of the world. When the light forgets its infinite nature and says, I am the light in this pot, from there all the stories begin. An illusory universe is woven around that small I. From I arise many layers of illusions. From the first thought I am, millions of other thoughts are born. I want to be loved, to be recognized. And man calls that chain of reactions life. But Maharaj only smiled. That is not life, but the dream of the shadow, trying to catch the light with its own hand made of darkness. The origin of ego, from awareness to illusion. Ego is not born of sin, but of forgetfulness. When the cosmic consciousness, Chaitanya, shines through the human mind, it reflects as the thought I am. In the initial stage, the thought I am is just a pure awareness of existence, unrelated to the body or mind. But then, that thought combines with memories, emotions, experiences, and creates the structure of identity. From I am becomes I am this, I am that, I am good, I am suffering. It is then that the ego is formed, a layer of mist covering the sun of truth. In I am that, Maharaj says, stay with the thought I am. Don't add anything. When you stay with that thought long enough, you will transcend it. That is the secret of dissolving the ego, returning to the starting point, where the I am is not contaminated by identity. The true nature of the ego, the identity thief. The ego is the thief of light. It borrows the energy of consciousness to exist, then pretends that it is the master. The ego does not exist by itself, it lives on forgetting. Look closely. When you think, there is someone who knows that you are thinking. When you are angry, there is someone who knows that you are angry. That knowing is not the ego, but the Atman, the silent, formless, unchanging witness. So practice is not about killing the ego, but about clearing the lake of the mind to see the real moon above. Who is Atman? The infinite light behind all illusions. When you say I am, you are speaking the words of God. Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj. In the darkness of ignorance, the ego reigns as a temporary ruler. But behind the veil of that little I, there is an immortal light, a pure awareness that is Atman, or the true self. Atman does not come, does not go. He is neither born nor dies. He needs no proof nor worship. He is you, but not the you that the mind imagines. Atman, the essence of all being. According to the Upanishads, Atman is the innermost essence of man, that which cannot be burned, that which cannot be wet, that which cannot be cut, that which cannot be destroyed. It is the light of self-knowledge, the divine fire that lies deep within every being. When Maharaj says, you are neither the body nor the mind, you are the consciousness that knows both. He is showing us what we truly are has never been touched by time. The body changes every day. The mind changes every minute. But there is one knowing that remains motionless, observing everything. That is Atman, the witness within, the invisible witness of all things. Atman is not far away, he is the source of I am himself. Many people seek God through rituals, through idols, through dogmas. But Maharaj laughed and said, God is not in the sky, but in the feeling of I am. When you hold that pure feeling without adding any thoughts, you are in the state of God. The feeling of I am is the secret door that leads from ego to Atman. Ego says I am someone, but Atman only says I am. No name, no form, no limit. When you stop in that pure presence, all concepts dissolve. No more I and you, good and bad, gain and loss. Only pure knowing, Satchitananda, existence, consciousness, bliss. Realization of Atman does not come through thinking, but through direct perception. Knowledge, books, or philosophies cannot help you see Atman. They are only maps, not the land. Maharaj once said, you may read thousands of scriptures, but as long as you are identified with body and mind, you have not understood anything. The only way to realize Atman is to turn around and observe the observer himself. When you see the mind wavering, you are no longer it. When you see the emotion rising and falling, you are beyond it. Then comes a profound moment. The observer disappears. There is no more I am meditating. There is only absolute presence, no meditator, no object of meditation, just I am. That is the state of self-knowledge of Atman. Atman is absolute freedom. Atman is not bound by karma, not bound by space or time. He is the source of all experiences, but is never affected by any experience. Like a movie screen, hundreds of scenes of joy and sadness, war, love, birth and death take place. But the screen is never burned by the fire of the movie. The nature of Atman is love and unity. One of the biggest misunderstandings of modern spirituality is enlightenment is escape from the world. But Maharaj teaches, when you see all as yourself, you will love all. Love is the natural expression of enlightenment. Atman is not separate from all things. He is the ocean, and all beings are the waves. When the wave knows itself to be water, it ceases to fear and compete. When you know yourself as Atman, you cease to judge, cease to resist, cease to search. The imagine war ego against the light of Atman. The ego fears death, but it has never lived. Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj. The ego lives by discrimination, by comparison, by identification. It exists only when it has something to fight against. The ego says, I must be more special. I must be right. I must win. The more it asserts I, the more it fears losing I. The more it wants to control, the more it is bound. The more it fights against the world, the further it is from itself. But Maharaj says, there is no one to protect. What you call I is just an empty thought, without foundation. The ego is like a shadow trying to keep its shape in the sunlight. It trembles when the light of truth shines, for that light is its death. The resistance of darkness when the ego fears the light. The ego does not resist God. It only fears melting into Him. Because in the light of Atman, the ego cannot survive. Just as the night cannot resist the dawn. However, when dawn is approaching, the darkness struggles most fiercely. That is why, when a person approaches enlightenment, they feel intense inner conflict. The mind begins to doubt, fear, rebel. The I feels like it is losing everything: identity, emotions, habits, beliefs. It screams, I am dissolving. I am dying. The mechanism of illusion, how the ego sustains life. The ego is the master of disguise. When it sees you coming into the light, it puts on a new robe, more subtle, more spiritual. It says, I am the one who is enlightened. I am a noble soul. I understand the truth more deeply than others. That is the spiritual ego, the last, most difficult form to recognize. It knows you are seeking freedom, so it pretends to be a liberated one. It recites scriptures, talks about egolessness, but secretly feels proud of understanding it. Maharaj warns, when you believe that you are the knower, you have lost everything. Return to the simplest thing, I am nothing more. As long as there is a knower, the Atman is covered. For the Atman is not the knower, but self-knowledge, no subject, no object. The light does not fight, it just is. In this imaginary battle, Atman never fights. He just shines. He does not need to win, because there is nothing to win. The ego dissolves only when you stop fighting it. When you look at it with the light of awareness, without judgment, without resistance. It dissolves like foam into the sea. Remember, you did not destroy the ego, but the ego never existed. The moment of light arises when the observer melts into awareness. One day, after many years of meditation, searching, frustration and surrender, you will sit still and feel this. There is nothing left to grasp. There is nothing left to achieve. There is only silent presence, vast, gentle, endless. In that moment, the ego, like a shadow, dissolves. Not because you defeated it, but because it never existed. You will smile, the smile that Maharaj, Ramana, and many other sages smiled. When the war is over, all becomes one. When the ego is dissolved, the world does not disappear. It is still there, but seen with new eyes. There is no more I and the other, good and evil, high and low. All are just expressions of the same light. You are no longer afraid, no longer competing, no longer seeking. You act not for gain, but out of the natural love of being. Every breath, every step, every word becomes an offering to infinite life. Then you are no longer a living person. You are life. No longer a meditator. You are meditation. No longer a lover. You are love. Liberation when there are no more two. Enlightenment is not a journey to a distant place. It is a return, a silent return to the very place you have never left. In ignorance, we think we have to climb the mountain to see God. But when we reach the top, we realize the mountain is us. When you truly see, the observer and the observed dissolve into each other. There are no longer two, there is only one life, one consciousness. All boundaries between I and world, witness and witness dissolve like mist in the dawn light. There is no more war between ego and Atman. Because you realize there have never been two combatants, it is only light shining into itself. Maharaj said, "When I is no longer I, God appears. When I appears, God disappears. So choose who will be present." That is the final teaching, as pure as the last dewdrop on the lotus. You need not attain anything, because the search itself is the barrier. You need only let go of all that is not you. And in that space the self reveals itself, boundless, clear, and loving. Liberation is not adding anything, but subtracting everything. Reduce all ideas, all names, all possessions, until there is only pure knowing witnessing itself. And in that moment, you are no longer the seeker. You are the silence in which the universe breathes. That is liberation, that is home.